Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. It is me, it is I, it is she, it is her, it is thee, it is who, it is Rosie Rosette 2020. Pow. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm doing okay. Okay, so let's just jump right into it regarding October. Guess what October is? Ding, 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 ding. National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's why you see all of this pink. I've been wearing pink. If you look at my videos, it's all pink hair, all pink tops for the entire month of October up until Halloween. I was supposed to stop on the 20th, but I'm like, you know what? I still got wigs to wear. I still got pink tops to wear. I still need to advocate and let people know, beg them, ask them, request of them to please go and get your mammograms. Hey, you know what? God has blessed me enough to purchase these um, synthetic wigs. Why don't I use my talents and show you and tell you and beg you and ask you to please ask your doctor to sign you up for a mammogram if you're over the age of 40 and if you're a man with boobs. Yes, that would help. Okay? Anyway, excuse me. I didn't mean to. Anyway, so I saw the show BMF last night. I saw it twice because I went over to see it. So actually, I have to, because I didn't want to see it again and take notes. I was just too tired because I saw it at 12 o'clock at night because it comes on at Stars on Saturday. Actually, it came on before. It came on before. It came on before. So this um, episode was regarding lying. All right, lying, lying, lying. So what happened is, and I'm just trying to piece it together. But I'm just going to give you the broad spectrum of whatever happened because I was trying to wait until, the episode happened so that I wouldn't just, blow that thing or whatever. But so this was based on lying. It started off where um, the mother, Meech's mother, gave Terry Southwest Tea, a note saying, hey, go out to your, give this to your teacher, whatever, and let her know that you can, the reason why you can come to school, whatever. And so then Southwest Tea was just like, this is when he was little. He was like, why don't we just tell him that, the lights were off or something or whatever, something. I think it was the lights or whatever. And then she was like, boy, if you don't just go ahead and do what I say or whatever. So basically what was going on was it was a lot of lying. All right, so they were trying to figure out, so Meech and Southwest T, they were on the porch or whatever, and I don't know if I'm skipping or whatever, but this is what I remember. So what they were talking about was the lady, the connect that Southwest T, I'm just gonna say T, was about to go see or whatever. Anyway, um see, I'm getting it all mixed up or whatever. Anyway, they were worried about getting the money that they needed to get back from Lamar because they know that Lamar had stole from them. So Meech was like, okay, I got an idea. And so then, it goes on to, okay, so Lamar, okay, I remember. Um, so Lamar and Cash Doll, they were in the bed, and then you see the scene where the girl comes in, and she's like, Daddy, Daddy, can you pick me up from school? And then, Lamar was like, it's up to your mom. And then she was like, I don't know, I'll see. And then Cash Doll was telling him, I don't know because you don't know how to tell time. He was like, you're right, I don't know how to tell time. So he was like, I promise, because he's really trying to get in. He was like, I promise I'm going to be on time. Okay, so then the scene goes with Terry and Meech. They're trying to figure out how they're going to get the money. So Meech is like, I know, I got an idea. So the next thing you know, Meech is at the school, at the girls' school. Now, excuse me if I'm missing some parts, I'm sorry. But Meech is at the girls' school, the little girls' school. And Meech used to mess with Cash Doll. I don't know who her name is on the thing, but she's so pretty. Anyway, and so Meech picks up the daughter. Now, how did he know that Lamar was supposed to pick him up or whatever? I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, so the little girl's like, oh, well, my daddy's supposed to pick me up. And then he was like, oh, I got a call from your mom or whatever to change plans or whatever. Now, he's not going to hurt her in any whatever. Because um, even when the guys was like, "You're not a killer." Okay, so we all know that Meech was never a killer. All right. So for this series, all right. So he takes the little girl, he was like, "Oh, we'll get some french fries or whatever." He was like, "We got a journey, we'll have really fun." And she was like, okay, okay. So, he's taking her away. Okay, so then Lamar comes up to the school and, he's waiting around or whatever. It's so weird that that man has a British accent and he's like, he's a good actor. Like Lamar, even though this story is, geared toward Meech, Big Meech, but Lamar has to be in it. Oh, he needs an Oscar for how well he acts. I mean, really, when you see him speaking in his native tongue, and you're like, is this the same guy? But anyway, but actually, I know I'm taking a tangent, but Little Meech is a good actor too, and also, the guy who's playing Southwest T, like this is a really good cast of actors. Whoever cast these people, bravo. What is his name? 50 Cent. You're doing it. Now you can't really talk that well, whatever. It's hard for you to express your thoughts, but you do have an eye for these gangster stories, I guess. Anyway, okay. So Lamar, he shows up, and so, he's like, "Hey, have you seen?" I'll just say her little girl's name is Michelle, and then the girl was like, "Oh, her dad picked her up or whatever, dad, uncle, whatever." I understand. Anyway, so then he's like, "What?" So then you hear him on the phone, calling his boys or whatever. He's like, "Okay, like posse up, it's emergency or whatever." So um, then you see Meech, with the little girl. Okay, so another thing is I think another, how this started is they're worried about, or Southwest T is kind of worried about, he has a lawsuit against the city or the hospital because they messed up his eye. They have to do a second surgery. So in that lawsuit, they found that, there's pictures of him getting out of Mercedes, a $30,000 Mercedes. And then they're bringing up the fact that, oh, well, if he's a drug dealer, you know, then, and he tried to leave to get to his brother, then he failed trying to leave. And that's where they messed up his eye. But actually, he got an infection. But anyway, okay, so they want to offer him. So you see him, Southwest T, and that attorney, Snoop Dogg's cousin or nephew or niece or something like that attorney, that I think that's at the beginning. And they show him with files or pictures, looking like a thug or drug dealer or whatever. And so their mom is like, T, tell me the truth, are you selling drugs? And he's like avoiding looking at her, and she grabs his face and said, look at my eye, are you selling drugs? And he said no. So there's this big dilemma because the father is like, that's a lot of money, $25,000. But this was in the 80s. But you have to understand that they were making $25,000 a day. So, so the dilemma was, do they continue to fight this case? Because if they take it to trial, then they're going to bring up that was a deposition. If they bring it to trial, they're going to bring up other issues regarding the case. And, And so, there's a dilemma as to whether or not they want to just go ahead and accept the $25,000 because the father wants them to accept it. But then the mother's like, no, no, you're not going to get away with doing my child like this. He should get a lot more. But the father's like, 25,000 ought to be enough for him to go to college and everything like that. And the mother's like, no, we need to go for it. So that's the dilemma. And Terry, Southwest T, is stressed out over it. Okay. So moving back over to, Meech, and him taking his stepdaughter, I guess, his niece, for a joyride, but actually he was trying to act like he was kidnapping the girl so that Lamar would freak out or whatever. So when Lamar rounds up the posse, whatever. This guy is like, listen, you know, why are we dealing with this? That's personal. You know, you even told us to focus on business, the business aspect. And so Lamar was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. Because this is the same guy who was like, oh, we going to listen to old school. And then the funny looking guy, he is kind of funny. He was like, yeah, we're going to listen to him until D Rock or whoever comes back. And so whatever. So you know, the guy was like, and this guy who's always speaking up. That's just how I am. I'm always speaking up or whatever. So Lamar was like, yeah, yeah, okay. You know what? That's right. You're right. You're right. You know what? Y'all go ahead and go. Go ahead. Just go ahead and go. So the guy walks. You know, like he's going. He hits his friend, and he walks in front of Lamar. I would never turn my back on a man like that. And so it was the way it happened. Lamar got his belt, I mean, with the quickness, put it over the guy, and he was choking or whatever. And, you know, so, you know, and then the funny looking guy who got shot in his leg when they took all of their money, when they robbed Big Meech, he's like, dude, come on, because he was about to kill him in front of everybody. And, so then, you know, he let dude go or whatever. Okay. So, you know, I guess Lamar was telling him, come on, you know, we gotta find this. I want y'all to look everywhere for this little girl, whatever. This is my daughter. You know, they didn't lost whatever, whatever. Um, so Big Meech is, you know, he took the girl to get the little girl to go get something to food or whatever. And so, you know, she's like, okay, well, you know, I live right, you know, around the corner. And then, you know, Big Meech is like, well, Little Meech, well, whatever. Big Meech is like, no, well, he was Little Meech then, or whatever, Michi. He was like, oh no, you know, yeah, but you know, don't you want some ice cream or whatever? And she was like, well, you know, I gotta go do my homework. And he was like, okay, well, whatever. And you know, he was like, well, what about we can go get some ice cream? And then he's like, you can have whatever you want. And then she was like, what, double marshmallows or whatever? And he was like, yeah. She was like, okay. And then he was like, I have a friend that, you know, I want to show you. I think you'd really like her. And then he was like, she was like, okay, all right. So they take her to Kato's house, or so Kato and the guy who killed D Rock, they're in the bed or whatever, and he's just like, why have you, you know, first you didn't want to give me none, and now you like a porn queen or whatever, and you know something about $100, and you see $100 or whatever. But I see her thing. I don't know who is she because she's playing too many sides. But I know a reason why she's screwing dude because she wants to find out that he killed D Rock or whatever. So anyway, she gets the page. It's Meech. Meech tells her to meet him, you know, at her house or whatever. So, you know, Meech brings the girl to Kato's house. And she's like, well, no, no, honey, the only toy I got is a dildo or whatever. And so he's like, listen, you know, you need to keep her or whatever until whatever. So, you know, Kato, you know, tells Terry, he was like, she was like, is this your idea or whatever? Are you going to go along with the idea? And then Meech, you know, sets her straight. It's like, you're just a streetwalker. Not a streetwalker, but a street hustler, whatever. So, she gets a phone call from Lamar. And she goes into the other room. And then when she comes back, Terry and Meech are gone. So, you know, she's like, oh my God. So, while they're doing that, Lamar, you know, he's oh so Cash Doll comes home, and she's like, well, where is, you know, hey, you know, Lamar, where I've been calling you all day. Why haven't you? That's another scene. I've been calling you all day. What happened and whatever. So she, you know, Lamar tells her, listen, they got your daughter, and she goes ballistic. And then the funny looking guy who can't walk, who got shot in the leg, you know, he walks up and he's like, listen, we can't find this little girl anywhere, whatever. We've looked everywhere, whatever. And, you know, he sees how distressed Cash Doll is. And he was like, you know, is she cool? Are you cool? And then Lamar's like, yeah, we're fine. And so um, he's like, I don't care. You search. And then, you know, Lamar's asking, well, where does Meech live? And Cash Doll, I don't think she really wanted to say something, but she was like, he lives in Southwest with his parents. I don't know where he lives or whatever. So Lamar's like, you need to find him. So, he sends the funny looking one with, that's walking funny, whatever. And he was like, man, I can't even walk. You want me to do all this? So he goes, so apparently, oh, so I'm sorry. At the school, when Lamar finds out that that the girl has been taken from Meech, this boy from the 50 Street crew, whatever, that's Michi's crew, comes up and says, has a paper, and he's like, yeah, you know, we got your girl, we got your little girl, and if you want her back, we want the money that you stole. So Lamar, grabs him, and he was gonna choke him. He's like, oh, you gonna do this like right in front of the school, whatever? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, have the cops come or whatever. So, Lamar lets him go. So that's what he did. That's the thing that was before when Lamar called all the posse up, whatever. So then I think the next scene is that somehow the 12th Street boys and the 50 boys, they, kind of meet up or whatever. And so you see someone like pull out a gun. And I don't know if he shoots him or whatever, but then they get the guy who, the funny looking one who can't walk. They So is the way it's done. So Terry Southwest Terry pulls up. The music is playing. The guys, the 50th Street guys, or whatever, they pull up. They want to, guns or whatever, on the 12th Street guys. So Terry gets out of his car. He walks around. He opens up the trunk and he walks around. And by the time he walks back over to the driver's side, the guy is in the trunk and they drive off. So they bring him to some warehouse. They got to do this in every drug story, whatever. And they're beating him up and all that. Terry and the guy that killed B Rock or whatever his name is, they're trying to beat him up to get him to confess where that money is. And so, they're beating him up, and they won't do it. Now, the guy who killed B Rock, he has a gun, and then Terry's like, dude, chill, like don't do that. Don't do that again. And they can't get it out of him. So Meech comes. No, 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 no. So there's a scene where Lamar goes to Cato's house, and the girl was still there. So he goes to Cato's house, and he's like, where is she? And then Cato's like, I would not have your daughter. So I don't know how they I don't know if Meech came in right before, because they don't display that, but there's a TV playing in it's cartoons, and then Lamar is like, wait, why is the he walks around the house, he's like, why is the TV on? And so then he's like, and then she's like, listen, I would never have your daughter or whatever. So then he walks into the back, and she's like, oh my god, like, oh, here it comes, because the girl was supposed to be there. Well, apparently, I guess Meech got her out, because you see, as Lamar is inside, you see Meech walking the girl outside, like on the side of the house. So when when Lamar is going into the bedroom to see, he busts in the bedroom, and he's looking around, and the girl's not there. And then Kato is looking like, well, where is she? Where is she? Whatever. So they go back into the living room, Lamar and Kato, and she's like, so he's looking around, but in there's a silhouette of Meech and the girl walking to the car. And Kato was like, oh shoot. So Lamar walks over, but I don't think he's looking outside. He must be looking down. He probably is looking around the house, looking for evidence of the little girl. And so then Kato's like, so what are we gonna do to get him to divert his attention away from the window and back to her? And while he's doing that, you see Meech and the little girl like walking outside to the car or whatever. Now I don't know why that car didn't start up, because that car was kind of loud. But anyway, and so then Lamar's like, you know what, you better find her. I need my little girl back, or something like that. So I guess they get away. So then Meech goes to the warehouse where the funny looking guy with the messed up leg is, and so um, he is like, they're beating him up, and then I know dude wants to kill him or whatever, and Terry's like, no. T is like, no. So then Meech comes in. He's like, the Superman or whatever. He's always trying to save the day. Anyway, so he goes in and, he's like, listen, so he brings the boy, the funny looking guy, over to the window. He was like, now, how would you, wait, what did he say? He said, how would Lamar feel if he knew that you had a chance to, save the girl's life and you didn't? And then the guy says, but you're not a killer. He was like, okay, yeah, you're right, I'm not a killer, but I'm desperate. And so if I don't get my money, I'm going to blow the girl's head off and I will send it to Lamar, on a platter. And he said, wouldn't it be better if he found out that you saved, you brought the little girl home back, you know, back to the mother or whatever? So then the guy tells, the 12th Street guy, he tells Meech, okay, it's on 12th and whatever, and it's in the kitchen under the sink. And Meech was like, what? He was like, listen, I told you it's on 12th Street and whatever, and it's under the sink. And so then, Meech was like, okay, get this guy some, clean clothes or whatever. So then you see, but you never see them going to rob the money, take the money back. So anyway, you see the guy, the 12th Street guy, bringing back the baby, and then Cash Doll, was like, you know what, then Lamar brings the girl back to her mom, but she doesn't know that she was kidnapped. She was just like, oh, Mom, I had such a good time with Uncle Meech, oh my God, because the mom's like, oh my God, and then the girl was like, is everything okay? And then she was like, yeah, she was like, oh, Mom, I had a good time with Uncle Meech or whatever. So then afterwards, Cash Doll kicks Lamar. I was like, you know what? Get out of my house. I don't want to have nothing to do with you or Mitch. You don't, involve my daughter or whatever. So then Lamar is like, oh, okay. Okay. And then that's all I remember. I know there was an ending, but I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. Oh, there was something about lies. Oh, I do remember. So, the guy who strangled got strangled by Lamar, right? There's a scene of him and Michi in the car. So Michi sells the guy who got strangled, some rocks or whatever, and he gave him, they're with this brown paper bag or whatever. It's not a paper envelope, the big ones. And so he hands him the money. So, oh shoot, there's another thing. Okay, it's so much. So then, so so the guy gives Meech the money, and Meech was like, dude, why? And he's like, aren't you 12th Street or your lawyer? What's going on? And he was like, listen, I'm about my money. I ain't got time for all of this, whatever. And then Meech was like, okay. So Meech gave the money to Terry. And that's when Terry had to let him know that their new connect doesn't want to have nothing to do with Meech because he's too flashy, okay? So regarding the cops, oh, it's all coming to me. Now, regarding the cops, so the bad cop, the dark guy, whatever. He there's an Asian guy who comes in, and they're at the station, and the whatever, the lieutenant is like, hey, we got somebody who has seen something. And then dude was like, well, let him take care of it. He was like, that's not a request. Get in there. So the guy, the Asian guy, I think it was Asian. He was very, he could have been on the spectrum, whatever, because he knew, you know, like he was very good with numbers. He said what height, the color of the skin, and everything that he saw D-Rock get pushed into a car. And he, described it to a T.O. The guy was like 6'2". The only thing that was kind of off is that he said that the guy's skin was peanut butter, not milk chocolate. That's the only thing. So they gave this man a spreadsheet of criminals. Meech was on it. He's like, no, he's not on here. So then he was like, okay, let him go. But the black cop was behind him, so the guy could never see him. So then, the black cop opened the door and was like, oh, okay, well, if you see anything, let us know. And then they both looked at each other. And so the Asian guy, I think this guy was Asian, he walked and, so they walked two separate ways. The black cop went this way, the Asian guy went this way. But then the Asian guy turned around and was like, oh, shoot, that was him. You see what I'm saying? So, um, then there was a scene, okay, so moving forward, then there was a scene of them going to because the Asian guy said that he had some more information, so they went back to the guy's house to ask questions. The white cop, I think this guy's Italian or Puerto Rican or something, and the black cop, and they went to his house, and then this guy was walking his dog. He was like, oh, he's not there, he won't be back for a while. He left yesterday with some suitcases and some boxes, he will not be back. And then they were like, oh man. So then there was another scene where this is too detailed. There's too much that's going on. It was a scene where Meech and the bad cop, the black cop, there was Meech was pumping his gas, and then the black cop pulled up, and then he was like, did you take care? He asked Meech, did you take care of it? He was like, yeah, you know. And so then he was like, he gave him an envelope, and he was like, look, I'm finished, I'm done. And then he was like, okay, but there was something else. And so anyway, the the Puerto Rican cop, I'm gonna call him Puerto Rican, he was across the street in his Volvo station wagon, you know, hiding or whatever. And he saw that transaction, so I was like, oh. Okay, so the ending part was, so Meech goes back to his mom's house. It was late at night, Tara was like, how'd you get in? He was like, I went through the back. Okay. So he had his bricks that he just purchased from his Connect. I think it was 4 or 5 of them or whatever. And then, Meech was like, oh, yeah, this is it or whatever. Because Meech gave the money from the guy who had gotten, the rocks, who got strangled. He gave it to Terry. And then Terry went and got a Connect. But you didn't see that part. So then, they're in the room, in Terry's room. And then, Terry's like, don't you ever get tired of this or whatever? And then Meech was like, no, I like making money, no, I don't get tired of this or whatever. And then Terry was like, Sarah was like, but what about, J-Rock and all these people who got killed? Now you're trying to kidnap kids. He was like, nah, whatever. And then Meech was like, it ain't my fault, it's our fault because of A, B, and C or whatever. And then you hear, so you don't see who's walking up the stairs, but you could tell someone's walking up. You don't know if it's the daughter, their sister, the mother, the father. You don't know, but you can just see, as the conversation goes on, you can see someone like coming up and coming to the door. And then I guess after, they're discussing so much, the person drops a plate, and guess who it is? It's the mother. Terry had lied to her and told her that he wasn't selling drugs, but she heard a different story. So I guess she was so bewildered that she dropped the plate. And then the last scene is you see her like taking a breath, like she's about to fall out, like, oh, and then all you see is Terry and Southwest T. I'm sorry, Terry and Meech just standing in there like, oh no, we've been busted. And boom, that's it. That's it. That's it. Let me tell you, when this is such a good series. This is way better than Power. It's not as good as The Wire. It's not as good. It can be, but it's very well written. Everybody can act. Everybody can act. I don't know if these are new actors, old actors, or whatever. That Lamar is it. The guy who's playing Southwest Terry, he's good. Little Meech is amazing. Like Cash Doll is amazing. Lamar, even the funny looking guy. Like everyone is really good. There's not one person that I could be like, ooh, no, I can't watch this. It is phenomenal. I'm telling you, these writers and these actors, I can see this winning an Emmy. I mean, honestly, it started off real slow. The first one was just like an introductory. You know, if you saw the first one, you'd be like, oh, no, I ain't wasting my time with this. This is really good. Um, I don't know if it's as good as P Valley. You know, P Valley is good too, but it's way better than Raising Cane and Power. It's really good. So, you know, because you see how every time I go over it, review it, I can't, it's too much detail. It's too much, and you have to, like, I can't leave out this because that's going to correlate to something else at the end. If I leave that out, you know what I'm saying? You have to tell, like, every detail in this. So, listen, you guys, I'm telling you, you need to watch this. You need to sign up for stars. I mean, I'm not trying to advocate for stars, but you can't get this on YouTube. I don't know why. Anyway, deuces. I'm about to go to bed. Talk to you guys later. Bye.